What's up guys, Mark back here with yet another video, and on today's show, I think of all of the different cameras that were released in 2017, and I made a list of all the ones that I think that anyone would be happy to own, buy, carry around, whatever. All the different manufacturers made some really good products this year, so I've made a list of those, and I want to share them with you guys. So if you happen to be in the market for a brand new camera, these are the ones from the different varying manufacturers that I think would probably do you just fine. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we're going to start off in the compact department, and my number one pick, hands down, is going to be the Panasonic Lumix ZS100. This thing is just amazing for its size and build quality. It's got excellent 4K video. It does have a touchscreen, 3 inches as well. It has a 10 frames per second burst shooting mode. It also has a lot of Wi-Fi features, in-camera RAW conversion. It does charge via USB, so you don't have to take an extra charger around with you. But the photo quality is just absolutely amazing. So if you're looking for a really great travel compact camera, the Panasonic Lumix ZS100 is just at the very top of my list. The number 2 compact that I'm going to recommend, just sheerly because it is that amazing, is the RX100 Mark V. It has phenomenal color rendition, phenomenal 4K, but there are a couple things that are holding this thing back, which is the main reason why I didn't make it into my number 1. The first thing being the battery life is just pretty horrible. It also doesn't have any touchscreen. The autofocus modes are a little bit wonky, and in a lot of cases they just don't make much sense. But you do get a lot for the money, and it is quite a bit more expensive. So the S-Log features that are built in are really great if you're any kind of video shooter and you want a small, compact sort of backup camera. The RX100 Mark V is an excellent choice. For those of you that are in the market for an extremely long zoom fixed lens camera, the top of my list is going to be the Sony RX10 Mark II. This thing is really great. Video and image quality is just off the charts great. RAW and JPEG just look really amazing. Impressive 24 to 200 millimeter equivalent on the zoom range. It does have image stabilization built in, but it is pricey for what you get. And also the auto function, or the autofocus continuous mode, is not that accurate in my opinion. Definitely not as accurate as, say, something like the Sony a6300, which is just dead on every single time. But if you've got $1,400 to spend, the Sony CyberShot RX10 Mark II is an excellent choice. So my runner-up is going to be the Lumix FZ1000. It is also a 1-inch type sensor, just like the RX10 Mark II. It is really bulky like the RX10 Mark II, but it has a lot of good stuff going for it. It has an extremely bright, very usable f2.8 to f4 lens, and it goes all the way out to 400 millimeters. So if you're looking for that little bit of extra range, maybe say over the RX10 Mark II, this would probably be a good choice for you. It does have 4K video recording. It does record in 100 megabits per second bit rate. It does have decent image quality at 8 megapixels, but it could have been better. It does have a nice large grip, so if you have larger hands or you just like something a little bit more substantial to hold on to, the Panasonic Lumix FZ1000 is an excellent choice for you. Now, if you're looking for an interchangeable lens camera for around $500 or so, I'm going to suggest picking up the Fuji X-T3. It was just announced earlier in 2016, but it comes with a lot of stuff that was passed down from its older siblings. And I do think that at this point, it has probably taken the top spot as far as those selfie-style cameras. So it does come with a lot of features that people that are going to be wanting to be in front of the camera are going to like, especially like contrast detect, autofocus system. You've got up to 77 points. This one also has that flip-up 3-inch touchscreen display that's absolutely perfect for those of you that do selfie videos or YouTube or anything like that. And it does record in full HD, and it can be captured up to 60 frames per second or 24p if you like that more cinematic look like I do. It also has Wi-Fi built in, which is really nice for those of you that like to share your images on your social networking sites. So my runner-up in this category is going to be the Sony a5100. Now, I realize that this camera has been out for a couple of years, and it is getting a little bit older and a little bit longer in the tooth, but it is still one of the better selfie style cameras with the 3-inch flip-up screen. It is a touch screen, but it does have limited functionality, but you're going to get 24 megapixels out of this. It is APS-C, so you are going to get better shallow depth of field. It does have really great ISO performance, and the shutter speed is at 4,000th of a second, so while you can't attach a flash or anything to it, you can do a lot of different things with this little camera. You can do the better image quality in video, but unfortunately it's been capped at 50 megabits per second bitrate, so you are going to lose that extra bit depth so that you can maybe mess around with this a little bit more in post. Moving on up towards the 1,000 mark, if you're looking for a camera with interchangeable lenses in this category, my number one pick is going to be the Sony a6300. So it has excellent stills and pretty fantastic video. The JPEG and RAW options are offered, as you would think. It does have RAW files with lots of dynamic range, so if getting the most out of each and every single image is a priority for you, definitely take a look at this camera. It has fantastic video quality. I use the camera every single day of my life. It has really great S-Log feature, so if you're wanting to do a lot of post-processing, you're going to have that ability. It does have 14-bit RAW in most of the shooting modes that it offers. Unfortunately, it does drop down to 12-bit in, say, like continuous shooting and silent shutter mode, which is kind of a bummer. But it doesn't have a touchscreen, and at this point in the game, most cameras ought to have one. The menus are really long and convoluted, and there's just a lot of stuff in those menus. It makes it really hard to find what you're looking for. But having all of that, you still get a lot for your money. And for roughly $1,000, you are going to get one of the best portable cameras that you could possibly buy. At this moment, this thing offers just about everything that I could possibly want, and is currently my daily driver. So my runner-up in this category is going to be the Panasonic Lumix G85. You're going to get excellent video and image quality out of this thing. It does have a weathered sealed body. It's got a fully articulating LCD screen, which is fantastic. I wish that Sony would finally put these in their damn cameras. I keep saying all this stuff, but they never seem to listen, at least thus far. There are a few things to consider, though. There is no headphone jack, which is also a problem with the Sony camera. In my first place position, it does have a problem when you use, say, like a mic or an HDMI cable out of this camera. It prevents the screen from swiveling all the way around. The image stabilization does struggle a little bit to figure out what type of intentional movement is actually in the frame and which is just accidental. So it does do some wonky things in that regard, but overall, a fantastic choice. Alright, so moving right on up into the $1,500 range. My number one pick in this category is obviously going to be the Fuji X-T3, and I know a lot of people are probably going to be surprised by that, but this camera kicked so much ass this year. It did so much for pushing these other manufacturers in the right direction, and I do think that a lot of the other ones are going to start picking up on some of the stuff that Fuji really did hit on this year with this camera. The X-T2 is a 24 megapixel APS-C style camera, but it has all those knobs and wheels and buttons on the top. It has a sort of kind of articulating screen, but it is in fact a touch screen. And it has all of these external controls that make using the camera so much better. It also has a total of 325 total focus points, 169 of which are phase detect. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. So if you're looking for that sort of mid-tier, semi-pro, just absolutely enjoyable camera to use, give the X-T2 a look, especially if you're into stills. Not so much if you're into video. If you're into video, I would seriously push you more so in the direction of the Sony a6500. So my runner-up for this category is going to be the Nikon D500. Again, I know that a lot of people are going to be surprised by that, but I'm an old Nikon shooter, and I've got to be honest, this camera is just bloody fantastic for what you're getting. It is sort of one of those mid-sized DSLR style cameras. It is only 21 megapixels, But if you do any sort of sports shooting, you're really going to want to get this camera. Not to mention, it is hailed all over the place as one of the best and most capable APS-C style cameras. And I would agree. At first, I wasn't all that impressed. I really didn't think that it was going to offer much, but I really had to temper that and bring that back in. So in this particular price range, if you just want an all-around rugged style DSLR type camera, you're not going to be able to go wrong with a Nikon D500. I think that you're going to get excellent quality to money spent ratio. So it also does come with a 153 point autofocus system, and it's just dead nuts. It locks on, and it does have a decent buffer with 10 frames per second shooting. So if you're looking for a rock solid proven brand like Nikon, and you don't mind the DSLR form factor, and you want it to just be top notch in just about every way except for video, then give the Nikon D500 a shot. So moving on into the full frame lineup, my number one pick is probably going to be the Pentax K1. Another shocker, I know. This thing has 36 megapixels. It is one of those basic mid-size DSLR style cameras. Like I said, 36 megapixels. It's just amazing how good this camera really is. It does have a CMOS style sensor. It does have a 3.2 inch screen size. 8,000ths of a second is your maximum shutter speed. It does record in MPEG-4 and H.264. This thing, for its price, because right now on Amazon this thing is sitting at right about $900. If you're looking to get into full frame, the image quality and the dynamic range on this thing is absolutely gorgeous. If you're not settled on a camera yet, or you've not bought into a system, or if you're one of those people that just absolutely doesn't care about maybe switching midstream and going to something completely different, then give the Pentax a try. I do think that you would be very well pleased. So my runner-up for this particular category is going to be the Sony A7 Mark II. It is a little bit more expensive. It's somewhere in the ballpark of around $1,500, but for a full frame camera, you do get a lot of bang for your buck. It is 24 megapixels, and it is a CMOS style sensor. It has a 3-inch tilty style screen, has a maximum shutter speed of up to 8,000ths of a second. It does have 1080p, and it is in 60 frames per second video recording, so if that's kind of important to you, this is a really great option. It is one of the better bang for your buck style cameras that Sony is offering right now. So if you are wanting a full frame camera and you want it to be small, light, compact, you don't want that sort of DSLR style form factor, you want something that's a little bit smaller, and you do like the mirrorless style cameras, the A7 Mark II is a fantastic option. Okay, so I've got two cameras that I think deserve a spot at the very, very top for pro level style cameras, and my number one pick is going to be the Nikon D750. And I realize that this thing was released in 2014, but it is still standing strong. It is a full frame camera. It is only 24 megapixels, but for those of you that do a lot of weddings or a lot of bar mitzvahs or recitals or whatever kind of thing that you just got to do a lot of burst shooting and stuff like that, you're going to appreciate that smaller file size. It does have a 3.2 inch screen. It does only go up to 4,000ths of a second in the shutter speed, so not the best, but we are talking about 2-year-old tech here. This thing has a lot to offer, especially for its price. It's currently selling for right around $1,800 on Amazon, and you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck out of this camera, especially if you're already invested in Nikon. If you've got an older Nikon that's growing a little long in the tooth and you want to upgrade, this thing is a fantastic choice. My next pick is going to be the A7R Mark II. This thing is a total beast. It is pretty much brand new tech. It was released in 2015, but again, at the top of its game in the mirrorless line of cameras. It has 42 megapixels. The dynamic range is amazing. There's only a few cameras out there that could probably top this thing. Number one probably being the Nikon D810, but if you like that smaller size, that smaller weight, that smaller form factor, take a look at the Sony A7R Mark II. So there you have it, and there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the list, and if you didn't, it's probably because you're a fanboy of one of the brands, and I didn't mention your particular camera. So to that I say, get your own YouTube channel and make your own list. At any rate, thanks a lot for stopping here and hanging out with me here on the Photo Video Show. I'm your host, Mark Pug, and I will see you guys again on the next one. Peace.